Okay. You know, Facebook likes to be attitudinal.
Yes, I know. I'm just trying to make sure we're live before we get started.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like we are.
I can testify. I see you on the Facebook.
Okay, awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Let's see here. We're almost ready here. Okay. Can you hear me, Dr. Ericka?
I hear you well.
Okay, awesome. Here we go. So good afternoon and welcome to Let's Chat with Dr. Celeste, MD. I'm your host, Dr. Celeste Reese-Willis. I'm your board certified family medicine physician. I help busy professionals to find solutions for their acute and chronic medical needs through my virtual medicine program, my concierge program, and my brand new Amazon best-selling book, Vitality. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. I'm so excited today that we have a special guest joining us today. She is someone who is my medical mogul sister. She is my super friend. She is my sorority sister and a phenomenal person all around. She's double board certified in child, adolescent, and adult psychiatry. She's also a 2-time Amazon best-selling author. And so, Dr. Ericka, welcome, and please tell us a little more about yourself.
Well, hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. I just don't know what to say. I'm just so excited to be here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for the wonderful, wonderful introduction. I'm Dr. Ericka. My government name is Dr. Ericka Goodwin. I'm a double board certified psychiatrist and integrative lifestyle coach. I help women who are disgruntled with life and love redefine and reboot their dreams in order to attract more aligned people and opportunities. I'm coming to you with over 15 years of experience in human behavior, and I'm here to help people get through all of this madness with their sanity intact. I'm just so honored to be here. As she said, I also have a adult telepsychiatry practice that I'm just excited to be able to provide quality services for people and be here with you today on your Sunday.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much. I'm so excited that you're here. And so, guys, what we're going to discuss today, you guys know that we've been coming to you live, talking a lot about what's going on in the world right now, and most especially and specifically how COVID-19 has affected us in just a number of ways. So I thought what we would do today, I had a friend that requested to me, asked me a couple of questions and were actually requested, hey, you know what about the working moms out there? Everything that we're going through, are there any things that we can do? Are there things that we need to be doing that can kind of help us in this situation? We all know that balancing the demands of motherhood in general is challenging at baseline. Now with COVID-19, you add on that, you know, many women are forced to be an employee or even small business owner, as well as a parent, a teacher, a cook, you're cleaning. And with the thousands of school and daycare closures, there are a lot of emotions that women are facing. As a matter of fact, a recent study suggested that 74% of women who are mothers are reporting feeling a mental decline since the COVID-19 pandemic began. So, Dr. Ericka, my first question to you is, are you surprised by this percentage and amount of women that are feeling this mental decline?
I honestly am not surprised at all. If you look at just how women are it's almost like how women are put together and shaped by society, that number one, there's an expectation that no matter what the task, a woman can do it, and that there's no limit to the amount of tasks a woman can do. So as all of these things start shifting, naturally, since a lot of people's perception is that a woman's part of the things that a woman does is take care of home, take care of the children,
Right.
that all of those things, when all these shifts start happening, it's going to be natural for a lot of people to think that it's on the woman of the household to take care of all of that slack, even if there is a male or another adult in the home. So it's no shock, because just the expectation itself of everything so many people are managing between working and keeping the home together, taking care of their children or parents, and then homeschooling, and then just the fact that it's a shift and things are very different, not to mention all of the financial struggles people are having due to COVID.
Yes, exactly.
At some point, it's just going to feel like it's too much. So to answer your original question, I'm totally not shocked.
So you're not shocked. So can you go through for us some of the range of emotions that you even have dealt with? I know that you have your own telemedicine practice. I'm sorry, couldn't get that all together.
Tongue twister.
Your own psychiatric practice that you do through telemedicine, so that you're having an impact even during this time in helping women grapple with those emotions. Can you go through with us some of the difference and varying emotions that some women and working moms may be experiencing right now?
If you had to ask me what are some of the top emotions people, especially working women, are experiencing, one is anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I do want to say is we're talking about emotions. We're not necessarily saying everyone is experiencing these emotions as a disorder, because there is a difference.
Okay.
So a lot of women are experiencing anxiety. There's a lot of uncertainty going on right now. There are a lot of things people are trying to problem solve. So as a woman, if you're trying to wear a million hats, and this environment is not one that's designed to pour into your bucket. So it's an environment that, unless you have tools and it's intentional, it's more of something that sucks out of your bucket versus pours into your bucket. So it's not unusual that people would feel anxious, because there's so much uncertainty and just so much on people's shoulders, because they're also trying to emotionally lead their family on top of themselves, and then make sure everyone they work with is okay, because women naturally are caregivers. The next emotion that you see quite a bit is, I would say, from a medical term, we would say dysphoria, but the regular term is sadness. Just feeling overwhelmed or just unsure of how to manage all of this, or at times even feeling inadequate. And the reason I say feeling inadequate, it doesn't mean that someone actually is inadequate, because sometimes the expectations people have are so unrealistic and impossible, there's no way they can meet them. So if they feel like they have failed or have not met those expectations, the problem was the expectation, not what they actually did. The third thing is irritability or anger. The interesting thing with irritability is, even from a symptomatic, if you were to look through our diagnostic criteria for stuff, almost anything comes out as being irritable. Somebody sad can look irritable. Someone nervous can look irritable. Someone sleepy looks irritable. So irritability and frustration, because there's just so much going on. People's sleep is very interrupted. And then if you're a working mom and anyone in the household is having difficulty sleeping, part of your role is most likely going to be to soothe them. So if your kids are having some difficulties and they're off schedule, then most likely you're going to be off schedule regardless of what you would have slept anyway, because they're up.
Exactly. So it sounds like you're also saying, towards the end, you're saying that this range of emotions that working moms are going through and working parents are going through is something that can bleed off even into the children, which brings me to my next question, which is, what do you suggest as a coping mechanism or strategy, or assessing or dealing with that emotion? And it's a two-part question. Number one is the working mom understanding that it's okay to feel this range of emotions, and that, that they are in no way inadequate. Feeling inadequate, feeling like, oh, I have all these things to do, and feeling like if I can't do them all perfectly, then somehow I'm inadequate, I'm a horrible mom. It just breaks my heart to hear some of the stories that mothers who I know are so well accomplished. I know that this is a challenge that I know that my sisters deal with, because they both have little toddlers that are at home. The oldest, London, my sister in Atlanta, and the youngest is Judah, who's 2 years old. So she has a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and a 2-year-old, and they all have lessons, and trying to get all that and still work full-time as a working mom and cooking and all of that. And so when those emotions come up, can you share with us some of your recommendations for strategies or ways to deal with that? And then secondly, when is the point at which they should seek assistance for that?
Thank you so much. That is an excellent question. We're going to answer that one in layers. So the first layer is there are two things that are relatively simple to do that naturally, because when you're handling these situations, a lot of times you don't even think about the simple things. You're just trying to survive.
Right.
So the first two is, one is get help. That one's playful to me is like phone a friend, phone a lifeline. is that there are a lot of things potentially you can get help with that when you're in the moment, you don't think of it. And I do put this one, you have to be creative because some of it, there's some things that it's easier to get help with because of what your financial resources are.
Okay.
But, you know, for people that have fiscal resources, then you start figuring out what can be outsourced even in the time of COVID, such as having groceries delivered, or even
Yes.
some people still are doing more mass laundry and cleaning drop-offs for their clothes. Just any, you know, this isn't a time most people are having people come in and clean their home, but just, you know, or picking one night where, you know, either dinner's delivered or you order something that's almost done for you that you can eat off of for a couple of days, just to take a couple of things off the plate.
Okay.
But also when it comes to calling a lifeline is some of the stress is struggling alone.
Okay.
And a lot of times people have different ideas of how to manage things. So sometimes just talking to someone else can help you give an idea of how to manage something because you just didn't think of it that way.
Exactly.
And those are things that are extremely easy to access. You know, the next couple of things are relatively easy because my thing is sometimes people end up with solutions that are so complicated that you can't do them yourself. So I like to give things that are practical. The next thing of managing between what's going on with that stress and managing all of it is reassessing what everyone in your household can do to contribute.
Ah, okay.
And that kind of goes
Like a
with
reset. Like a reset almost.
it is. It's a reset, and you know, just as you were alluding to earlier, that the situation itself isn't anything any of us would consider normal. So that the plan you used to deal with what was normal before most likely is not going to be the plan that works with what's going on now. So you may have to sit down and figure out how to reshuffle tasks or things in the household, looking at even if you have children old enough to do chores, how their chore lists may shift to help out around the house if there are multiple adults in the home, if there are ways to have a more equitable division of labor. Because one of the things that happens with a lot of women and what I'm hearing is all of these new tasks come up, and because they were traditionally woman tasks, that a disproportionate amount of those, a lot of women feel like are getting shifted to them instead of their partner. So they'll feel like all of these expectations are on them. And, you know, if they're a working mom, they're working too, but their partner feels like, or their spouse feels like, well, they're working, so they're off in their office working or doing their thing, while the woman's trying to work, but she's managing the kids and all these other things. So sometimes you have to revisit what may be more equitable, because what worked before may not be what works with these additional tasks in there. The next is putting together a schedule for yourself and your family.
Okay.
It puts together some predictability for you and also for the children, which decreases their anxiety and uncertainty.
Right.
And then, and if you're a mom, finding things in ways that your children can participate, because that helps keep them engaged. But, you know, if you have let them do breakfast or dinner, or they help out with some more chores, then that's something that's coming off your plate and they're also contributing.
True, exactly. Okay, awesome. So creating another way for the child to actually contribute, that make it be almost like a fun task, even like, okay, who wants to sweep the floor? It's your day to sweep the kitchen, you know, great, and make them be excited about it. And they're contributing to the household, one less thing for mom to do. And then hopefully she can feel like she's had some level of a reprieve. Interesting, one of the things that you talked about was the child care portion, in terms of that being something that is extra on mom's plate. One of the things that I read about in the study said that 30% of full-time working moms say that if they had to gauge the level of stress or what was the most stressful, one of the things that was most stressful was the child care. And, you know, the teacher portion of things. Is this something that surprises you? That is one of the most challenging parts of it.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, if you think about the average parent, if you weren't homeschooling prior to COVID, you most likely had no expectation or desire to ever homeschool. And that pivot happened so quickly. So people that, number one, never planned to homeschool, number two, probably were not prepared to homeschool,
Right.
that then had to figure out, how am I going to homeschool in the middle of my work day? And and I think one of the challenges of it has been, it's not just the pressure of homeschooling. There's on the one end, it's you trying to do what you have to do to be teacher. The other end is then managing your kids' expectations when that may not be the way that either they learn the best or the way they want to learn.
Oh,
But then it's the fact that you have to manage all of this in the context of most likely time that you were supposed to be working. And that's one of the complaints and concerns I hear from a lot of working moms, is that childcare portion you mentioned, it bleeds over into everything. So it's hard for them to get their work done because they're doing childcare.
exactly.
And then even when the child's not homeschooling, that then the child wants to do things with their mom or engage their mom, but mom needs to work. So it's a lot harder to separate that out, because a lot of people that worked from home before, their kids were either at school or in childcare. So when they were working at home, there weren't those competing interests. And most children, especially young children, aren't going to understand why mom can't hang out and play and do whatever they want, because mom is there.
Right, right. Mom, you're right here. You're just looking at the screen. You've been looking at it all day. Can't we move into doing something fun?
Yes.
Right. And so in actuality, our next question actually had to deal with that, and the challenges they deal with, trying to get work done and not be distracted, and being able to, and especially if you're someone that takes, a great deal of pride in your work and what you do and something complex, and you're trying to have a conference call, but your 3-year-old's, climbing over your head and peeping in and saying hi, and, all of that. And that in and of itself, and most people are understanding to that, but that in and of itself, all while we're smiling about this now, but if you're that mom who has been working all week, who has been, feeding her kids all week, who has been, in addition to that, being a teacher all week and trying to understand these complex new things that they have going on with school, which is challenging in and of itself, and talk about the value for teachers that I think all of us have at this point now, is just, pretty challenging for that mom, especially, to grapple with, because you're sharing with them about the schoolwork, but you want them to continue to make good grades. So you want to make sure that you're doing a good job as a mom. So it's even more self-inflicted anxiety of judgment in yourself as to, okay, how am I, how am I measuring up in terms of making sure that my child doesn't fall behind, like during this time period. And interestingly enough, that same report said that 27% of these working moms reported that their emotional state was currently feeling terrible or poor. And so you alluded to it earlier about resetting the schedule, about getting help, getting someone, whether in the home or outside the home, to help them, which is an awesome thing to do, and kind of restructuring and resetting. Hey, you know what? We used to do things this way. Now we're having to work inside the home. Mom has to work now, as well as make sure your guys' school things get done. So we've just kind of reshuffled things in terms of responsibility, so that so much pressure is not felt on mom. At what point do you feel like that women should feel like, okay, I need to make sure that I get some help, whether that's calling someone such as yourself and doing telepsychiatry, which I definitely would recommend because she's amazing, guys.
Thank you.
And she'll share with you later where she's available and all of that stuff. We'll get to that in the end. But at what point do they seek out the help of someone? And especially with COVID right now, people aren't jumping up and down to go to a lot of public places and certain doctors' offices. But these are services that you're actually able to offer through telemedicine and being able to help people in that way. So could you share with us a little bit about how helpful that portion of it can be if you're someone that feels like you need that?
That's an excellent question. I think if we kind of go through it in tiers, the first tier is, or the first part of the question was, how do you know that you may need help? Because there are times where a little bit of Oprah or Deepak or a couple of gratitude moments or some meditation will make everything all right. And then there are times it doesn't. So some of the main things to look at that may be signs that you may need just a little bit more help And, none of these things are anything to be ashamed of, because
Exactly.
number one, everyone's dealing with so much right now. And, there are statistics that show around 46.4% adults at some point have dealt with some mental health issue.
Okay.
So what I would say is the first thing is, if you just can't sleep, either you can't sleep or you are sleeping literally all the time.
Mhm. Okay.
So to me, sleep is one thing. If you notice that your appetite is just trash, and one thing you'll notice for a lot of things that I do, it's changes. So you can have people either that their appetite is just horrible and they're just not hungry hardly at all.
Okay.
And this isn't like I'm just busy and I'm not eating. This is, I just am not hungry. Like, for me to eat, most of the time I just make myself eat. Or people are eating constantly, and I'm not talking about just eating some COVID snacks or some ice cream or Oreos, just that you just feel this need to eat all the time, and like you're gaining weight and your clothes are getting tighter
Okay.
quickly. The next is, if you notice that you don't want to be around people, that you're in this house, but all you want to do is be in your room. You don't want to be around, if you have a partner, you don't want to be around them. You don't want to deal with any other adults in the house. You don't want to be around your kids. If you could, you just hide in the bathroom or your room and just be away from everybody.
Okay.
If you notice that you are just crying a lot, just having crying spells,
Mhm.
and sometimes don't even know why you're crying, you just break out in tears.
Okay.
If you start feeling hopeless, like just things can't get better,
Mhm.
or helpless, like there's just nothing I can do, or you just feel just horrible about yourself. If you feel super, super sad, or if you notice that you're feeling super, super mad, so like you're snapping at everybody,
Okay.
one of the things they notice is, are you just yelling at your kids all the time? Like, just hearing the word mom, is hearing somebody go mom a trigger for you and you want to like go off?
Mhm.
And then when you get to the far end of the spectrum, then it's like, if you start thinking of what it would be like if you were dead, or that the world doesn't need me anymore, or I'm thinking of hurting myself.
Right.
And the other flip side is if you feel like you're getting to a point where you actually feel like hurting somebody.
Correct. Definitely, for sure. Okay. So, guys, you heard that from Dr. Ericka. These are the warning signs that we need to heed to. That if you start feeling some of these emotions, you just need to make sure that you reach out and get help from a professional. And I definitely recommend that if you're in any of the states where she practices, she is amazing.
Thank you.
And I personally have been a witness to how wonderful she is, and her show is absolutely amazing. And she's been giving so many different strategies through which people can help to get through different types of mental challenges that people have come in touch with during COVID. She does a great job of that on her show. So if you're out there and someone that's had any of those type of issues, definitely follow her. She'll give you her information in just a moment, because Dr. Celeste doesn't want to mess it up. Because sometimes we spell out doctor, sometimes we keep it short for different branding reasons. But she definitely is one to watch and someone you want to follow. Very well trained, Harvard trained, Spelman trained as well. And just an all around great person. But what is one of the best things I love about Dr. Ericka is I would like her to share with you a little bit about her brand new book, Fix Your Fairy Tale, and sharing with them a little bit about what your book talks about, because some of those emotions that you discuss and ways to cope with it in this book are things that I think could be helpful for some of those working moms that are out there now. So if you don't mind, I know, and I'm putting her on the spot a little bit. She didn't know I was going to say this, but it's just a really, really, really great book. And if you'll share just a little bit with everyone what your book is about, please, Dr. Ericka.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Well, the name of the book is Fix Your Fairy Tale, A Woman's Guide to a Great Life, Love, and Legacy. And the premise of the book is, there's this fairy tale that women are taught from a very, very young age, that you're going to have a husband, you're going to have kids, that this is what women do. And that if you're a good girl, all this stuff is going to just fall into place. And what we're finding for a lot of women is their experiences, this is not exactly what's happening, that they're clicking and checking off all the boxes, but at the end of the rainbow is in a pot of gold with a husband, some kids, and a white picket fence. And people are then finding themselves with a lot of distress, just feeling bad about themselves or wondering what's wrong with them or questioning their own identities, because society has taught them that being a woman is so built on the identity of being a wife or a mother. So this book is a self-help book that literally breaks down steps people can do to move from being at a place where they're looking at the world from a lens of lack, everything they don't have. Like, I don't have a husband, I don't have kids,
Yes.
people don't see me at work, people don't appreciate me, I'm working hard, but nobody cares, to a place where they are happy with who they are and feel like they can get there happy and accept their life on their own terms, which then puts them in a better position to attract better quality relationships.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. I know that they will enjoy it. I know that you guys will enjoy it. So we're going to let Dr. Ericka share with you her information, because we definitely want you guys to be able to get in touch with her and get a copy of her brand new book. But first, we're going to see if we can take a few questions, if that's okay, Dr. Ericka.
Sure.
Take a couple of questions. So let's see here. So we have Miss Bryant's watching. Hi, Miss Bryant. Thanks so much for joining. Hi, Miss Martin, Miss Antoinette Martin from Birmingham. Thanks so much for joining. My husband's watching. Hi, Mr. Willis. Thank you for joining. Hi, Miss Scott. Dion Scott is watching. Thank you so much. Hi, Miss Benson. Thank you for watching. Hi, Miss Black. Hi, oh, my brother's watching. Hi, Gregory. How are you? And my sis is watching. Hi, and she's Sora too. How are you? Thanks so much for joining. My cousin Tiffany is watching from Denver, and Rabia and Harley from Florida. And Brittany, hi, Brittany Clark. Thank you so much for joining us. And Miss Jones, thank you so much for joining us from Greensboro, Alabama. Okay. Okay. And so that's my sis again, Sarah. Aye. Thank you for joining. Hi, Katrina. Thanks so much for joining. So, and hi, Tiffany Osborne. She's watching too. So let's see. She has a question. She says, if you're working from home, you don't have time to manage homeschooling children or hardly anything with the children. Oh, okay. She's just making a statement there, saying if you're working from home, you don't have the time to manage homeschooling or hardly anything with the children. And so that leads into what you were saying before, Dr. Ericka, about hopefully trying to reset things or realign their responsibilities or getting the kids involved in some of the chores that go on. And there's a way to make chores fun for kids, especially if they feel like, it's something that I'm doing helpful, helpful for mom. And so she says, again, exactly, children don't understand mom having to work. They think, Mom, you're home, engage us. And so she's a working mom that has two little ones that are at home. And so I'm sure that she's dealing with some of those challenges as well. Hi, Dr. Janine. Thank you so much for joining. Anyone have any questions? Hi, Dr. Hassan. Thank you for joining us. Okay, and Pastor Walker, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, let's see if we have any questions. Hi, Cassandra, thanks so much for joining. And hi, my sister Jada and my mom, thank you so much for joining. So my sister has a question. She says, every time I need to meet or take a call, she asks her 3-year-old, which is my niece Harley, who is she's 3, y'all, but oh my goodness, I wish I had a video to show you. She has such a little stellar star personality. She says she'll ask her 3-year-old to leave the room and go to her room and play for a few minutes. And this makes her upset. So my sister may have a a call that she has to have with one of her clients, and she'll ask her 3-year-old to leave the room to play for a few minutes. This makes her upset. So once she's done with the phone call, she's fine. So she said, any suggestions on how to handle her emotions with that?
I think one of the challenges is if you can identify if there's something that she finds really, really fun, like if there's something she likes to color or her favorite book or something like that, and kind of spin it into, Mommy needs to do this call, but I want you to have some really special time. So how about you go in your room and you go, it's like if they have a favorite coloring thing or
Minnie Mouse.
Yes, or something with Minnie. And I'm like, you go in your room, you play with Minnie, and then we're going to get together and you're going to tell me all about it. And then we're going to play with Minnie together. So you shift it so that there's something positive in there, so that the reframe isn't, Mommy needs to do this and you need to go away. To Mommy needs to do this, but you're going to do something really special and then we're going to get together and do something special together afterwards.
Oh,
So
that's
there's
awesome,
almost a
Dr. Eric.
reward after the activity, because a lot of the challenge during this is finding ways to it's literally one big reframe,
Okay.
so that you're changing the experience of sheltering in place from being stuck together to having quality time together, and times that people have different tasks is kind of shifting it from you can't be by me to we're going to be doing special time apart and do something special together afterwards.
I see. Oh, that's great, Dr. Ericka. Thank you so much. That is a great idea. So basically, busy her with, oh, you're going to do this with Minnie, and then when you get done, you're going to tell mommy all about it. That is awesome. Wonderful, wonderful technique to deal with that. So thank you so much. Let's see if we have any other questions. Do we have any other questions, everybody? Dr. Mashika has joined us. Hi, Dr. Mashika. Thank you so much for joining us. And Tracy Parker, thank you so much for joining. Does anyone have any other questions? I'm just checking just to make sure, Dr. Ericka. You have been amazing.
Thank
You've
you.
been absolutely amazing. I'm trying to make sure I don't leave anyone's questions out. So, okay, Miss Bryant has one other question. She said, the video games keep kids occupied for hours and hours. Is this a good way to keep the kids occupied while you're getting your work done?
I would say video games they're like a blessing and a curse, because
Thank you for your transparency.
well, the games with the headset, on one hand, you're always kind of like who your kid talk to. But on the other hand, especially, just gender related, the kids that tend to play the headset communicate during them games tend to be boys a little bit more than girls. That's been a way that some of them have felt like they've been able to stay connected to their peers, because they're not having to FaceTime, because when they're playing, they're chatting to their friends. So they're still hanging out. And the ironic thing is then you'll notice the girls end up sometimes feeling more disconnected because they aren't doing the same similar activity. I'd say part of it is using your judgment as far as how much screen time overall the children have, because naturally you want them occupied, but you also don't want their brains to feel like they're going to mush. Or for them to be doing so much that you just can't supervise. Because the other thing is, people that are twisted right now know that kids are on the internet more. And just like there were discussions around people Zoom bombing, you want to make sure that you're still keeping an eye on what your children are doing with screens, to make sure that they're not, number one, having access to inappropriate content as far as too much information when it comes especially to COVID. But also you don't want them chatting to some random adult that is acting like they're their friend and it's inappropriate. So part of it is just kind of using your judgment, but also finding other activities or games that children can do that are not screen related. This is a good time to pull board games back out, card games out. There are all those things that even have screens that aren't like traditional screen games, that are versions of charades, heads up, all those kinds of things that they're engaging, and they can engage each other and not necessarily be just playing video games.
Right. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. Ericka. So it sounds like you're saying, video games are okay for a pointed amount of time, but make sure you limit it and then find something else for them to do that still works with the mind, in terms of puzzles or board games or something like that, to provide a different alternative. So thank you. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, let's see. We have any other questions? Okay, that's my mom. My dad is watching. Hey, he never is able to we're never able to get him on Facebook. So this is hilarious.
Go, Daddy.
Because he hears from there are people that we go to church with, or that are from Montgomery, that are on Facebook, that see the Facebook lives, but he never gets to see them. So we're excited that he's watching today. So hey, Daddy, thank you for watching. Okay, Miss Sanders watching. Okay, so one more question here. So Miss Bryant has a question. She said the 2- and 3-year-olds have these things they look at 24/7. I wonder what these things they look at 24/7, like I wonder what, like a Kindle or something, or like a game. I'm not sure. So let us know what you mean specifically, Miss Bryant. Do you mean like a little computer held device? And I think they call those things, I'm showing my age, I don't know what they are. It's a little something that would look similar to what my phone would look like, the little games that they play. Okay, we'll go. Oh, she said cartoons. They have these little things they look at 24/7. Some cartoons they look at, on TV. Okay, so she's talking about the cartoons they have on, and I guess it's the Cartoon Channel or something just playing that 24/7. So what's your answer on that one, Dr. Ericka?
Well, and I to be fully transparent, I have some younger cousins, and they, oh my Lord Jesus, I don't even understand some of these little cartoons they watch these days. I think I maxed out. I used to love, I'm down with Paw Patrol and Wonder Pets. That was like the last crew of that stuff. I was, it was Super Y. Those were my jams.
Yeah, the Paw Patch. You're doing great.
But I think right now it's you want a point where the majority of a child's day is not related to a screen. So cartoons count too, as far as you want to still have a situation where they're still getting stimulated other than just the screen. So I understand that there are going to be times where you're going to have the TV on, and I want to say, give yourself some grace. I realize a lot of people, they're going to have TV on a little bit more than usual because they're working stuff out. So this is nothing to say that you can't have that TV on a little bit more because you're just trying to get by.
Right.
Because there are some people that they're just trying to get by, and anything that'll just keep that kid sitting still for just a couple of minutes will be the difference between them pulling all of their hair out and needing a wig or making it through.
Exactly.
So I'm not saying you can't have it on. It's just try to find ways to vary things so that even if they're watching cartoons, if there's a time where you want to switch it over to, right now there's so many sales with Disney Plus and Netflix has cartoons and other things, something that maybe you can watch or interact with them around, or that you could talk to them about, so that it turns a little bit more into an interactive experience versus the children being parked in front of a TV for a long time. And then take breaks where you're, maybe you'll go outside. This is a great time to do some outdoor activities. I realize it's a little bit easier if you have your own yard, because then you have a space that you don't have to worry about having this physical distance from people. But, this is a time where go outside, play, run. We have a colleague, one of our super friends, that hula hoops. But this is a great time for some of those activities because they'll help tire your kids out. But also help them get some physical activity, because the thing that's happening with them being in the house, especially if you have old school parents. I haven't met Dr. Celeste parents, but I know how my parents were about running the house.
They're old school for sure, Dr. Ericka. I wish you could meet my dad. He is a card. You have fun with him. Trust me.
So it's like if they're not outside, there's a good chance they're not getting much physical activity, because traditionally kids didn't run in the house. And so most likely your kid's just not getting that much activity. So that helps them to get some of that physical activity out by going outside and going for a walk, or them running a little round a little bit, or playing tag or something. But they can only play tag with people they live with.
Exactly. COVID-19 disclosure. Let's make sure we're clear about that.
Yeah, be very specific. Can't just be touching.
Family only your quarantine.
Yes, but I think it's great. Kids don't do as well being in the house. And then also there are other alternate activities. I've talked to people, and a lot of online content has shifted to family related fitness content, to family kind of Zumba, family little exercises, family and child friendly meditations. And you can find them on YouTube. There are numerous fitness people that are doing them. I know Peloton has done a lot of family content. And those are activities that you can do together, but also when it comes to doing meditation and stuff together, or yoga together with your children, is it helps kind of center and calm everybody down at one time.
Right. And I didn't even know that children now get into yoga. I saw it the other day when Dr. Monica, who's one of our colleagues, as well as our classmates from Medical Moguls Academy, Dr. Dre, did a meditation segment with her 6-year-old, and I about passed out because I had never seen a child. They actually have an app that will teach the child how to meditate, which actually, and I know we can't talk all day, Dr. Ericka, because you know that.
Oh my gosh, I think all of my devices, this is what happens when you forgot to put your phone on DND, and then all your devices are connected.
Right, sorry. But so just very briefly, because I know that that's actually an entirely different show, which if you're willing to come back and share this with us at a later time, we definitely would love for you to do it. But some of the emotions that the children are going through and feeling, while what the moms are feeling, and moms having to try and offset those emotions that the children are feeling, because they're all feeling different emotions, even whether they're 2 years old, 3, 4, that kind of thing. What are some of the feelings or emotions that you think children are going through right now even?
They have a lot of the same emotions that grown-ups are. It's just a question of whether or not they have the language to describe it. So you'll see irritable or fussy kids. They sometimes get a little resistant or rebellious. You'll see some kids will look sad, some will look nervous, but they just may use different language of it. But really the emotions pretty much are very similar. But as far as what to do about it, a lot of it is we're still back to very simple things that when it comes to doing the schedule, I feel like if you said what gives you the most bang for your buck, scheduling, because it makes a lot of what throws people off emotionally, adults and children, especially children, is the uncertainty or unpredictability. Children do best with structure. You probably see it the most profoundly with, children or young people with autism or something like that, but it's something that goes with all children. All children need some structure and predictability. So by putting together a schedule that helps make their world predictable and takes out some of that uncertainty. But also having a schedule, then that also you're able to figure out ways to keep everybody occupied. And then also it gets everyone also on a schedule for meals, doing things together, helps you make sure that you still maintain important routines like bedtime routines. While we were in school, you could also then mirror their school schedule, which then kept them from being totally out of sorts. But as far as having a schedule that gives them predictability, it gives you predictability, and it potentially allows you to then schedule ways where you can get a little breath of fresh air or a little breather so that you can restore as the working mom. And you're also part of the schedule too is making sure that they're having consistent bedtimes, because you don't want their sleep out of whack, because then they'll become more irritable and out of sorts too. So the more everyone is on a sleeping schedule, it helps the adults and the children at home. So if you said the two biggest bangs for your buck are schedule and sleep, but the other one is to actually ask them how they're feeling and not just assume.
Okay. And actually talk to them about the emotions that they're feeling. Okay.
Because sometimes they'll act like everything's okay, but if you ask them, they'll usually tell you. So you have to actually ask them, how are you really feeling? How are you really doing? And if it's a child that doesn't talk as much, or if they're a little bit little, you may need to do an activity that functions as a distraction while you're asking them. So you might be coloring or playing with Play-Doh or clay, and then you're like, hey, how you doing? Or you might ask if it's a little kid and they have, like you talked about your niece that has a Minnie Mouse. I assume she probably has a stuffed Minnie Mouse too. She loves Minnie Mouse.
Dr. Ericka, she has Minnie Mouse everything. She has Minnie Mouse phone. She has Minnie Mouse boots. She has a Minnie Mouse dress. My mom bought her some Minnie Mouse boots, rain boots for Christmas. She wore them the entire Christmas holiday. That's Miss Harley. She loves her Minnie Mouse. Whenever I wear a red dress and she sees me on a live, I'm wearing my Minnie Mouse dress. She is obsessed with the Minnie Mouse.
Yes, and you may ask a lot of times with younger kids or kids that just don't want to talk about their emotions, you can also use a transitional object. So instead of asking, now what was her name again?
Harley.
So instead of saying, Harley, how you doing? Hey, Harley, how is Minnie doing? How's Minnie doing with all this stuff?
And she will tell you.
So a lot of times, sometimes you may have to ask what their toy or their favorite stuffed animal, how they're feeling, if they're not ready to tell you how they're feeling directly.
Right. And she has a favorite doll, and her name is Gabby. Yes. And she treats Gabby like her baby sister, but that's a whole nother story. But okay, that's an awesome idea. So thank you so much, Dr. Ericka. And I know that we are winding down. We've had you on for a while. Let's see if we have any more last minute questions.
No problem.
Okay. She says, schedule works. So my husband said, schedule works. Give them projects to keep them distracted. Periodically check on them to give them feedback and keep them engaged in the activity. my husband, he's probably speaking of what he went through when Maddie and Morgan were little.
Oh,
They're older now and they don't need that. They have their own cell phone, so they're well distracted. But okay, so it doesn't look like, well, wait a minute. So one last question. How do
okay.
you juggle 3 different children and trying to work for a 2, 4, and 6-year-old? And that's my mom. She's asking that, I'm sure, for my sister, for her age group.
If you believe in God, prayer.
She does, for sure.
I think part of it is figuring out a way when we go back to scheduling, what things you can merge that they'll all do, or things that they can do parallel. Because at that age, children do more what we call parallel play versus playing together. So that's like when you see kids and they may have Legos, but one's building a schoolhouse over here and the other one's building a car.
Yeah.
They aren't necessarily building something together. Or you'll see kids with dolls and one has one whole narrative for her Barbie, the other one has another one for hers, versus they're at school hanging out together.
Right.
Those
Right.
ages, they tend to do what's called parallel play.
Gotcha.
Is that you're going to, if I had to say what's the top yield, we're still back to that schedule. And also it's finding moments that if there's another adult in the house too, where you can pick 10 or 15-minute chunks at least once a day to do something specifically with each one.
Oh.
So that they still feel like, I have a cousin he used to talk about his attention bag. You want them to feel like their attention bag is full.
Oh.
And
Okay.
sometimes some kids do better with that
Mhm.
if it's some one-on-one time. And realizing that there's so much going on that this isn't a time where you got hours to spend with each kid, but you may be able to take 10 or 15 minutes,
Okay.
especially if there's another adult around,
Okay.
and then you do something with one for 10 or 15 minutes, something with another, and just kind of spread it out so that everyone feels like they had some you time.
Gotcha.
So that they're not all running up to you because they all feel like their attention bag is low or they haven't had enough attention.
Oh.
The other is finding projects or things for them to do that can engage them that are age appropriate. So at that age, if they like to color, it's good. If they like to dress up, if they're Legos or Duplos, because they might not be, some of them are a little young, they might swallow the little bitty Legos. They need to,
Right.
they need the big ones. But some type of activity that they can do together. The youngest one's a little young, but the other ones are old enough for like Chutes and Ladders and those kinds of things too, in Candyland.
Oh.
So just things that you can try to engage and keep them together, or especially if they can color and things, a couple minutes, and that gives you a few minutes to do your own thing. But I do realize there are some specific challenges of younger kids that are a little different than older kids because you have to have their eyes on them a little bit differently. You can't just send a 2-year-old in the other room and hope for the best.
Right. And not this 2-year-old. Judah is his name, my little nephew. He is just a little charmer too, Dr. Ericka. If he's on the other line now, he's probably saying hello, everybody. He's just a charmer. It's as sweet as he can.
Yes, and the other is give yourself some grace. I think we hadn't had a chance to talk about that, but number one, this expectation that everything be shiny, perfect, white glove, everything, and everything is smooth sailing, it's unrealistic. You're setting yourself up for failure.
Okay. Thank you for saying that, Dr. Ericka, so much. Thank you so much for saying that.
And right now, this is a time where you're on these Zooms with all these people, all these meetings, and especially all the working moms. Most of the time, their kids are all running around. I can't remember the last time I was on a daytime Zoom with folks and someone wasn't muted talking to their kid, or somebody didn't come up or whatever.
Right.
So I think part of it is that's just how it is right now. And you do the best, but if you have one little one that just can't hold together and you need to bounce them on that knee while you're in a meeting, you just do it.
Right.
And I think right now most people understand that that's what people are dealing with, and it may be worth having a quick conversation with either your team or your boss. If you're not sure if they know what your home situation is, not telling people your business, but it's like, hey, I'm here, I'm doing my work, I have this many little munchkins running around. there are times where they're not going to be totally separated. They're going to pop up sometimes. I'm
Right.
doing the best I can, but this is what's going on at home. So that then if a kid pops up on your Zoom, they know your kid might pop up on the
Right.
Zoom. So you've
Right.
managed the expectation ahead of time. But I think then the person ends up so stressed. Like I've seen people totally stressed out because their kid popped up on a Zoom. And no one most of the time, most people don't care because their kids are running around somewhere. It's a matter of if someone was around to corral them or they're a little bit older. So
Right.
they may be saying mom, and it happened to be at a time you weren't speaking, so you can mute them. But it's like, you get the example of the kid climbing over someone's head.
Right.
I mean, right now, this is one of those times you got to just chill out. It happens,
Right.
and just move forward and not be stressing out over it, because 5 minutes later, most likely nobody remembered or someone else's kid has popped up.
Right, exactly. Oh, Dr. Ericka, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That was great what you shared about us allowing ourselves to be given grace and knowing that, hey, everything's not going to be perfect. So, guys, the things that we need to keep in mind and the nuggets that Dr. Ericka shared with us, she's told us to get help. Whether that's getting your groceries delivered, having your laundry dropped off, getting help outside of the home, making sure that you do a reset of the expectations of yourself as well as your spouse or the partner or whatever other adult in the home or whomever it is that you have childcare arranged with, having a reset so that we can reset some schedules. She talked about how important having a set schedule is and how important it is to make sure that you are establishing structure, making sure you know the warning signs to reach out if you need help, if you're not able to sleep, if you've had a varied change with your appetite, whether it's that your appetite increases so much and you're eating everything you can, or if you're not eating at all, that it being so bad that it's affecting your eating. If you find yourself yelling at the kids or just having a very low threshold, that may be a time that you need to reach out. And definitely if you're having thoughts of wanting to hurt yourself or wanting to hurt someone else or feeling of hopelessness or crying, these are the times that we encourage you to reach out and get some help from someone who is super highly qualified like Dr. Ericka. And she will share with us in just a moment. So Dr. Ericka, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have you. And I'm biased because she's my SAR and my medical mogul sister, but I'm not being biased in saying that this woman is phenomenal at what she does. So thank you so much for coming on with us. We hope to have you on at some point in the future. Guys, go out and buy her book. If you have needs for telepsychiatry, she definitely is your woman that you want to call. And if you'll share with us really quickly, Dr. Ericka, and if someone can put this in the chat, I know Dr. Janine is watching. Hi, Dr. Janine, and she's so fabulous, our other medical mogul sis. If we can put in the chat your website, I'm going to try and type that in as you tell it to us so that people know how they can get in touch with you.
Okay. So for the telepsychiatry practice, very quickly, telepsychiatry just means that we are not seeing you face to face in person. We are seeing you through a communication device. For my practice, primarily, my end will be a computer, but the thing that's so convenient is that on your end, you can be on a phone, tablet, or computer, anything with a screen. And this practice, even though I am board certified in child, adolescent, and adult, it is primarily an adult psychiatry practice right now. And the great thing about it is not only do you get a Harvard trained physician, is that it's designed in a way that it is a cash paying practice so that we have plenty of time. So we're not stuck dealing with all this other stuff, so that you have plenty of time. That it's the two of us. I can make my appointments longer and make sure I do everything I can to do right by you and to get you where you need to be. You can find that practice at Goodwin Telepsych. That's GOODWIN TELEPSYCH.com. Oh, Lord Jesus. So GoodwinTelepsych.com. Pardon me?
No, I said I'll go back and put it in the chat.
It's so funny. There's some things that you write out real quick, but then when you're spelling them out loud, it's like, I know I can spell. And then if you just need to find me other ways, I'm on all social media platforms at Dr. Ericka. That's DOCTORERICKA. I spelled out all of doctor, then my parents used all the letters for Ericka.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. And they can find your book on that website as well, Dr. Ericka?
Actually, no, you can find the book at fixyourfairytalebook.com.
Okay. Fixyourfairytalebook.com. So we'll include that in the chat in just a moment. So thank you again so much, Sarah, Dr. Ericka, for coming on and sharing your strategies with us. I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know that I enjoy every time I hear Dr. Ericka share just different strategies to try and help us cope with some of the mental challenges with what's going on right now, especially in the time of COVID-19. I do think that this is very valuable information. So I encourage you to share it with your family, friends, coworkers, anyone. If you're watching this right now and it's in replay, if you will please put #replay in the comments section. Please leave any questions and we'll address those. Again, I'm Dr. Celeste. I'm your board certified family medicine physician. I help busy professionals to find solutions for their acute and chronic medical needs via my virtual medicine, concierge medicine, as well as through my brand new Amazon bestselling book, Vitality. You guys know where you can reach me at drcelestemd.com. That's DoctorCelestemd.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're delighted to share part of our Sunday afternoon with you. And thanks again so much to our special guest, Dr. Ericka, for coming on and sharing these strategies with us. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.